What's your relationship with the previous two Deadpool movies?
I mean, I quite enjoyed them. I thought it was well done. I thought they had good characterization. I mean, I think he definitely lives and personifies the character. I mean, to be fair, like Iron Man prior to watching the Iron Man films, I really didn't give a toss about Deadpool till I watched the films. And once I
Yeah.
watched it, I'm like, oh, but I still wouldn't say I'm a really like core fan that would read all his comics or whatever. But I do appreciate him when he turns up in like a multi-character story or something. I've tried some of these graphic novels, but they're a bit too daft for me. But yeah, I appreciate
Oh.
the first two films. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've never read a Deadpool comic in my life, and I don't think I'd ever even read a comic where he'd made like a cameo appearance at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, the movies are my only kind of real understanding of Deadpool, and I quite liked the first one. I thought it was quite like it just felt like a really tiny movie, and it was kind of like a surprisingly good movie. The second one I thought was okay, but I found it a bit too much, like a bit too. As this episode progresses, you're probably going to begin to realize I can only take Ryan Reynolds in kind of small doses a little bit. Like I like him, but the relentlessness of the quips is
Yeah.
driving me insane, man. I mean, I don't.
It
Maybe
was,
we could touch upon it later, but yeah,
well, yeah, I feel the same. And I think the only reason I appreciate Deadpool 2, I think both of them, I was going to talk about this later before, so let's jump into it.
yeah,
Both
yeah,
of
go
them
for it.
had heart in the sense of his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is. It's kind of like,
Mm.
you know, they had that heart and that emotional center, which kind of gave them some
Yes.
validity, whereas this one didn't, which is a shame. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like number two simply because it had Juggernaut in it and they did Juggernaut right. Like Juggernaut's
Yes.
apart from, you know, some of the crude stuff that happened, but you know, Juggernaut was my favorite character, like one of my favorite baddies from the X-Men shows and
Yeah.
comics and whatever. And to actually see him as this giant hench, hulked out dude with the proper helmet and not Vinnie Jones in
Yes.
a gimp outfit, you know, it just
Yeah.
worked. So for me, I'm like, anything else went wrong in that film, they had Juggernaut and they did him well.
Yeah, they've done the big characters quite well, like Colossus as well. He looks like Colossus. So.
Exactly, yeah. They actually appreciate the comics and the source material and they kind of thing. And I think, you know, what's his face? Josh Brolin or whatever, did a good job as Cable.
Cable, yeah, yeah.
But it's just, yeah, like you say, it's kind of, there's only so much of him you can take. And moving into number three, I think they kind of put like his quips and that side of it to the fore. And all of that emotional underpinning of the first two films was kind of just thrown to the wayside. Like, you know, his girlfriend, who he's literally went back and changed time for, was then like, oh yeah, we broke up now. And yeah, we're going to see her a few minutes at the beginning, a few minutes at the end, job done. I'm going to have like a love-in with Hugh Jackman. And that was it.
Yeah, like all the characters they'd built up in the first two movies, like the girlfriend, the taxi driver, Megasonic Warhead or whatever her name is. Yeah, they were all just kind of guest appearances, more or less. Like they kind of bookend the movie at the beginning and the end of the movie. Yeah, I don't know how you felt about this, but with this movie, with Deadpool 3, like I felt like the first act was like just exposition. Like it was just like there wasn't really, I don't know, it just felt really clunky, and the scenes that were at the TVA just felt like they lasted forever. Like when they were kind of explaining the timelines and everything. And man, even in the cinema, I was thinking, is this it? And even that interview with Happy Hogan at the beginning when he's trying to be recruited, that just felt like it went on forever. What could have been a short joke scene?
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but yeah, I found it a bit kind of never
I
ending.
mean, I suppose you know, I'll sort of take a step back. Usually, I'm the one on these podcasts that spends a lot of time moaning and, you know, complaining and being negative, and I probably will do. But I found it an engaging enough film and it was entertaining enough. But on your point, yeah, it's like, I don't know if you watched Loki or not, and if you did, you didn't need all that TVA exposition, and even if you didn't, you probably didn't need all that TVA exposition. Replace the timeline. Your timeline's going to be destroyed. Job done. And
it could have been shorter.
Yeah, and also that, like I said about the heart of the movie. So, you know, all these characters and his friend group and his social group, and it's like they're all about to be killed, and then he makes quips and he just jokes around and he's like, you know, okay, he's a comedy character, but it's, you know, you're pushing it too far now.
Yeah. There's a line. I feel like the movie definitely picked up once we meet the Wolverine variant. Yeah, that's when things start picking up and the movie gets interesting. Just before we kind of move into that, you know, they showed like a whole bunch of the different Hugh Jackman variants at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah.
What were your opinion on some of those? I bet like your inner geek kind of like exploded at some point.
Well, I loved it because I know the comics and stuff, so every single one that popped up, I know that one, and like I'm not thinking you're not as au fait with me, so I'm guessing you had to look it up afterwards, like what issue was that referring to and stuff. Whereas I'm like, yes, Age of Apocalypse, Old Man Logan, he's saying first appearance of the Hulk, and when they got to the height appropriate, I think they took it a bit too far, but yeah, I think when they obviously this is going to be spoilerific, this one, but when they revealed the Henry Cavill, I know that wasn't like a comic book one, but what I really liked about that is he had the cigar, and Wolverine smokes cigars, and they've airbrushed them out of modern reprintings now because obviously it's not au fait.
Really? Gosh, that's stupid.
When you've got Deadpool going, I'm not sure about this guy, I thought he was going to make a smoking comment, which should have been quite funny and quite thingy.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's actually Cavill. But yeah, what would be the thing? But yeah, I don't know. I really like that, and I think when I saw and when I looked at that as well, like you're looking at that and you're like, you've got all these great stories and these great issues, and what you're doing with them is a joke.
It's a joke.
It's like literally you've had 24 years of this franchise, and the most comic accurate stuff we've had is in like a 5-minute or 3-minute montage as a joke, and it's just like, seriously, guys. Okay, I appreciate the fact that you probably care enough to make the joke, so that's a good sign. But on the other hand, you're laughing at my childhood.
I got all the references with. Obviously, I'm nowhere near as mate. I'm not. I mean, you're in a totally different league when it comes to comic knowledge. Like I'm a casual when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like when they showed Henry Cavill, that was a surprise. That was a nice surprise.
That was a nice one.
Yeah, and it made me wonder, like, if he's going to be the new Wolverine or if he's just going to be another throwaway actor, like they did with John Krasinski in Ministry of Mayhem or whatever, the Multiverse of Mayhem or whatever it's called. But when they showed tiny Hugh Jackman, I thought that was quite funny because obviously Wolverine's meant to be like a 5-foot kind of character.
Yeah.
But where I think they should have what I think they should have done is, because like for years, like many years, an internet meme has been getting Danny DeVito to play Wolverine.
Oh yes, that would have been
because he's more that build. It would have been great if they just had Danny DeVito, because they had Henry Cavill play him like he's a totally different actor.
Yeah,
like maybe they could have maybe they could have just had different actors playing all the roles, like all those cameo appearances. Just if they were going to go in that direction anyway.
Yeah, and it's like Cavill. If you just had Cavill, it's going to confuse people. Whereas if you had Cavill, DeVito, blah blah blah, you'd be like, oh, fair enough. These aren't the real actors. These are just us having a little smorgasbord of different people.
Yeah, because they could have gone all out where they maybe had like an unexpected female actress playing one of the variants or a black guy playing one of the variants, like just like kind of all over the place and just made it a real
debate the internet.
Well, yeah, that is well.
Potentially. But, I've been spending the last so many years moaning about Hugh Jackman because he's too tall. I mean, what would they do if they did that? There's a bit later when we're going to be talking about the characters and whatever. But yeah, I've got a whole thing about this. I mean, maybe I should just mention it now. Basically, Hugh Jackman has never been a Wolverine to me. He's just been a guy that's playing Wolverine. Because I grew up with the comics and the cartoons, and he's like a short, stocky, hairy, aggressive,
gruff kind of guy.
Hugh Jackman's tall. He's somewhat sophisticated. He's lean, and all of that stuff just doesn't work.
He's too good looking.
Yeah, he's too good looking. He's too like polite. He's like and he sings show tunes. So it's kind of like he's not that guy for me. So he's basically for me a stopgap while I wait for someone appropriate to come along. And I've been waiting 24 years and it's not happened yet. So
who would you want it to be?
Well, I mean, I would like Kit Harington would be my fan.
Really?
Yeah, because basically he's short, he's hairy, he's stocky, he's messed up, like on off screen sort of thing. And I think if he could do it quite well. I think he could do it justice.
I never thought about him.
Yeah, back in the day. Well, yeah, now it's been wasted on Eternals, which hasn't been renewed. But yeah, back in the day, Chris Claremont, who's like one of the prolific X-Men writers, when they were first talking about doing an X-Men film, he suggested Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And when you compare that to Hugh Jackman, it's like it's nowhere near. But yeah, I must say, like after the performance in this one and the costume in this one, I'm now willing to give him more of a chance because I think he was the saving grace of this film. If it was just Ryan Reynolds,
absolutely
2 hours, I would have just you just get fed up. But
absolutely, yeah.
It was basically like I was just like, I could. What's the word? Yeah, he just gave it that quality and that class and that gravitas that was missing.
Yeah,
and he literally put his all into every scene he was in, and like even when he's giving his exposition about his backstory, you actually believed it. When he said like, oh, I'm proud to be in this costume, you believed it and stuff. And it just felt like Hugh, for Hugh, this was a big thing, and that's half the reason he come back, because he actually got to play the character properly for a change, rather than being like a joke or a sort of, oh, we can't wear them costumes, we can't do this, that, and the other.
Yeah, the bit where Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are in the car, and Ryan is just making jokes, and then Hugh realizes Ryan had lied to him about the
fixing.
I can't remember. Yeah, and then the scene where Hugh goes ballistic on Ryan about talking about how it's God's biggest joke that he's stuck here with Deadpool. Sorry, that whole monologue summed up like how I felt about Ryan Reynolds in this movie. Like it was such a cathartic moment where I felt like, because don't get me wrong, I enjoy Ryan playing Deadpool, but for me it's just a bit too much. But in that moment, I felt seen and heard. And I felt like Wolverine was like captured perfectly what I felt.
the audience surrogate or whatever in that moment.
Yes.
And I think that what I loved is the fact that because they made it R-rated, when they were attacking each other, you could see gore and you could see the sort of, it was actually quite visceral and stuff. And I think, I appreciated it. I did think it was a bit gratuitous and it went on too long, like a lot of the violent stuff. And I think that made, in terms, I think we had a bullet point about plot, and I think you've probably got like 30 minutes of plot in this in a 2-hour film in terms of what actually happens, and the rest of it's just them hacking people apart or fighting or arguing or snapping at each other like a married couple. And it's like, is that really, is that the state of the thingy now? Like I was on a flight recently and I watched the first Iron Man film, and I only got halfway through because I landed. But when you look at the quality of that film to what's coming out now, it's like it's a completely different world. And like they got Favreau in this and stuff, and he did his part and stuff. But when you think of the genius and the sort of just the way they did it compared to this, it's mind-numbing, really.
I think with the state of, I think Iron Man, Marvel kind of gambled the house on that. Like it was either make that or lose everything.
Yeah.
Because I think throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, there was a series of potential bankruptcies for a more and I think Iron Man was them kind of going all in and just hoping for the best.
But that showed the amount of thought and effort and whatever they put into it, kind of make it work. Whereas now they're kind of, they've been on a high for so long, they're like, oh, we could do anything now and sell anything now, and it doesn't really matter. But in fact, it does, because the reason you've got to this high is because of the quality output you did have.
Yeah.
And, when you think they had took his Z-list character, or like Z-list Iron Man, and made him like the figurehead for a whole franchise because they didn't have the rights to the X-Men. Now they've got the rights to the X-Men, and all they're doing is like dropping him in, like, I don't know, like, oh, look, there's Beast at the end of the Marvels, and oh, look, here's Professor X, the Multiverse of Madness.
Absolutely. That's something I really don't like what Marvel's doing, how they're just kind of dropping these actors here and there, like, because you got like Charlize Theron that appears in one of them, Harry Styles, that John Krasinski appeared. It's just like, I feel like they're wasting people just for kind of like shock effect or shock value or whatever. It's just, I don't like it.
And they're cheapening it, and they're just like, maybe they're just seeing what sticks. It's like the whole Jonathan Majors thing. He wasn't meant to be Kang until the first season of Thingy come out, and they're like, oh, he looks, people seem to be responding well to it. They thought so in the previews, I suppose. Let's make him the arch villain of the whole thing. And that's gone well.
They didn't let that be organic. Like with Thanos, it was a bit more, it just felt a bit more organic, maybe because he was just kind of used quite sparingly.
But also I wouldn't say it was organic because it was planned. It was preordained. It was like, we were like leaving breadcrumbs about this thing that we'd been planning over a span of however long to get to the Infinity thing. Okay, they might not have known the shape it was going to take, but they knew that Thanos was going to be the villain. And it's kind of like, whereas this thing's just been like, like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences in that first phase or the first couple of phases was I think people were just happy to even have these Avengers movies, and like, because it had never happened before, but now the expectation has been set at a certain level. Like the fans are probably thinking, oh, if the first one's called the Infinity Saga, what the hell is this saga called? Like, what? That was another thing that kind of annoyed me. Like, why the hell does it have to be a saga? Why can it not just make decent movies and maybe have kind of something, a hidden thread that isn't immediately obvious to the audience, or attention isn't cast to it until you put them all together and you realize that the breadcrumbs were there all along, rather than
which kind of worked like leading up to the first Avengers film, wasn't it? It's like they're all sort of these separate films with separate plots going on, and you sort of got to the Avengers because you're like, oh crud, this is happening. Then after that, it become bigger and bigger. Something. I think and this film, I think a lot of people, it's the same with Multiverse of Madness. It's probably like, this person's going to cameo. We're going to have Taylor Swift as Dazzler. We're going to have this, that, and the other. And it's like you get so carried away in the rumor and the expectation, like you said, there's so much expectation that people can't appreciate it for what it is, and it can't be what it's meant to be. I think this one does it a lot better than Multiverse of Madness in the sense that this was meant to be the swan song for Fox, and that's what they did. Whereas if they'd start start introducing more MCU elements beyond Happy Hogan, I think that would have just been like, oh god, now what's happening? So at least they can be like, right, this is the line, and then when he returned for Secret Wars, which I don't know if they're going to do, that's when he interacted with all the other ones and the big
Absolutely,
So I think in that sense it worked quite well. Worked well.
Yeah. Because I actually, to be honest, I've never looked back at the Fox timeline and thought like had great nostalgia for it. I mean, I liked a few of the movies throughout it, but this movie, like when I saw the kind of Fox Avengers assemble at the end with like Gambit and all the other guys, Blade and everything, I must admit it sent like a little shiver down my spine, and I thought I want to see more movies with this group of heroes. Just would, yeah. I mean, or maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe I kind of was tricked by the movie into feeling that, but I kind of liked the fact that it was just a bunch of Z-list characters from the Fox universe that nobody really gives a crap about, and nobody gave a crap about other than Blade. I mean, nobody gave a crap about Elektra when the Daredevil movie came out and whatnot. I mean, that was a joke when it came out. I mean, I know over the years we'd had quite a fondness for the Daredevil movie.
Oh, I love that movie. But
yeah. It would have been great if Ben Affleck was in here as well as a post BVS Batman. I mean, Daredevil.
He wouldn't be able to move if he's still as hench as he was in Thingy.
Oh,
but
man.
Did you? I mean, yeah, totally. I get you. Like I sort of Fox things just didn't interest me in the slightest. Like the X-Men ones, like I said, 24 years of hurt. But yeah, I think I liked Daredevil. The Fantastic Fours were dumb fun, but they weren't anything decent. Blade,
like kids movie.
But like going back to Elektra, there's a bit in there where she's like, Daredevil died fighting Casanova, and Ryan Reynolds was like, or Deadpool, whatever. He's like, oh, sorry about that. She's like, I don't know, because obviously, they broke up in real life, and it's just like all them little touches were quite clever. And
it's funny because they met on that movie, didn't they?
And they met and they fell in love, and now he's back with J-Lo. So things come in cycles. Maybe we'll have Ben Affleck back. But no, the whatchamacallit, you mentioned Gambit there. I mean, I've got a whole thing about Gambit, but basically this proves, that meme that such and such isn't real, such and such can't hurt you. Yeah. Channing Tatum Gambit isn't real. Channing Tatum Gambit cannot hurt you. Now he is real, and it hurts me.
You didn't like him, no?
It was awful. It was.
You didn't like him.
When it was rumored years ago that he was going to be, I'm like, really? That giant lump of meat is going to play Gambit? I'm like, Gambit's meant to be lean. He's meant to have longer face. He's meant to be like charismatic and suave. You got Channing Tatum like lumbering in like a lurch, and I was watching an interview of him, and he's basically like, I'm somewhat Cajun, so this character resonated with me. I really wanted to play it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just because you're Cajun doesn't mean you can be Gambit. Like,
I didn't realize he was Cajun.
Well, exactly. You can't even do the accent right. And I'm like,
I didn't mind it so much, to be honest. I thought he was one of the better parts of the movie.
Oh no, it was entertaining. It was really entertaining. Yeah. But I would hate to see a film of it. Everyone's like asking for a Channing Tatum Gambit film.
Oh no. I wouldn't. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be like asking for a Gambit movie, but as a character in the ensemble of this movie, I thought he was good because he's a break dancer as well, so he can move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I like that they used like the Gambit I remembered from the cartoon show.
Yeah. So basically, they dressed him well, but in terms of the appearance, he's not slim enough. He's not.
No, of course.
And
not,
like, no. but the genius as well is it's like, I feel like I was born here. I feel like I didn't have the. And it's just like, yes, man, this is great. I mean, he I don't know, but I think he should just be like, looking at himself in the costume now, looking at any image of Gambit from the comics or the cartoon series, and be like, that's not that guy. I'll be a producer. Someone else can do it because we've put up with Jackman as Wolverine, but like, come on. But
I quite liked how with this movie it felt like it was tying off loose ends of the Fox universe, like with that Gambit thing, and maybe I don't know what else they could have tied up because I think Gambit was the only kind of leftover from that universe.
I think he said basically it was about to happen, then the Disney purchase happened, and it's killed it dead. But the one surprising cameo which wasn't spoiled for me before I turned up was Blade, which I thought was genius.
I didn't know about that either. The only thing that got spoiled for me was Henry Cavill. Like I think you told me to avoid Instagram or the internet, and literally one day I was on Instagram and that Henry Cavill thing had leaked, and I was thinking, oh crap, but I didn't realize it was just a little guest like a little 2-second clip. I didn't realize it, which I was kind of relieved, but everything else was what still remained.
Oh, that's good. You managed to avoid it.
A mystery.
It's surprising how quickly stuff ended up on Instagram. It was just, and even Ryan Reynolds spoiling it. It's like, come on, man, let's watch. You want to get to 1.5 billion, at least give people a chance not to have it ruined.
No. Did you see those at the end when it's got all the Deadpool multiple variants that appear. I
Mm.
didn't realize this, but you know the cowboy Deadpool is Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, Lady Deadpool is played by his wife, Ryan
Like,
Reynolds' wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Headpool, I'm guessing is the flying head, was Nathan Fillion.
Yes, I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to talk about those guys as well, but before I do, as an aside, I saw an interview which basically it's alleged Rob Liefeld, the guy that invented Deadpool and Lady Deadpool, blah, blah, blah. On Instagram, it basically said, I was watching, whatever show Blake Lively was famous for.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl. He's like, I was watching Gossip Girl and I needed to create this new character, so I based her on Blake Lively, which was Lady Deadpool. Yeah, and then like full circle, then it becomes and I'm like, really? That sounds a bit too, but
What a coincidence.
That happened. But yeah, in terms of Deadpool crawl, I'm like, were they necessary? Did it bring anything to the plot? It was just a massive joke. It was just an opportunity for them to hack limbs off without any repercussion. Because, killing the TVA agents at the start was, graphic and I quite enjoyed it. But, it's blood and gore and, cars exploding blood and all this stuff. And then they all survive at the end. And it's just like, okay, so you had a gratuitous violence scene with some fart jokes or whatever. Is this just the state of cinema now?
That sequence, I didn't mind it so much because I do have a problem with it, but I'll mention in a second. So in the run up to this movie, they had the Madonna music, like Prayer, on all the trailers and whatnot. And at that point, I thought, this is stupid. Why the hell are they? Like, it's just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, getting some kind of like ironic song playing.
Yeah.
But in that scene, shockingly, I thought the music worked really well because they mixed it with an orchestral version of it and they had a choir in the background. But the thing I really did not like about that scene, and it only really occurred to me later on, like a week down the line, was at the end when they'd killed all the Deadpools and then suddenly all the Deadpools regenerate.
Yeah.
And I genuinely felt, wow, how the hell are they going to get out of this one? And then Peter comes along and they're like, oh yeah, every Deadpool has a Peter, yeah. And in the moment, I thought that was funny, and I thought, that's hilarious, that's a great way of getting it. But the more that scene has sat with me over the week, I just felt like it was such a cheap get out of jail card.
Yeah.
And that bit just does not sit well with me. I might be in the minority there, but
it's
I didn't
like
it.
Deus Ex Peter or whatever. But but no, I suppose in terms of the cinematography, the way it was choreographed, the fact it looked like Double Dragon or whatever, with them walking beside each other, killing things. All that was really well done. So I suppose the execution was good. But I just felt it was kind of like, why are these people here? Is she paying them to be here? Is she not paying them to be here? Are they just here for that? It's kind of like, I think we've got a bullet point about story. There was no real story here. It was just a bunch of sequences pasted together with a really loose thing making it happen. Like in terms of Cassandra Nova as a villain, she looks nothing like she does in the comics. Her powers are ambiguous. Just it is what it is. Her motivations are confusing. Blah, blah, blah. Like, how did she get them there? Why did she get them there? Why did they turn up? What is Happy Pool about? Whatever. I suppose as going back, I'd really like the film, but it's not high art. It's basically popcorn.
I mean, that's pretty much all the Marvel movies, really. But the thing with this one is, you're absolutely right. The story is a bunch of bollocks, really. Like it is just bits strung together. But I think the thing that saves this movie is at the top is Hugh Jackman's performance.
Yeah.
By far, he saves this movie. And then second place, I'd put just the pure chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Deadpool.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, because we've got a bullet point of characterization. Like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is just the same bloke it's been all the whole time. I'm like, the thing that's genuine is their relationship. Like,
yes.
But that's the off-screen relationship that's just carried into this, and it's basically just two blokes having a laugh with Disney funding it. And if we get the benefit of that, great. But like you said, that chemistry kept it going and kept it fresh and kept you engaged throughout it all. But you could just tell by because Hugh was basically done that with Logan, and he was just like, oh, sorry, it's crap. I've done my bit. I've never got to wear the costume, but the days are gone over. And then suddenly this one, he's like, I can actually be the character I've been trying to be for all these years. And he literally lent into it and he made it real. I kind of, I forgive him for all the shit ones now. I mean, it wasn't his fault, but so you're gonna have to bleep that one.
No, don't worry about it. Just going back to a point you made about Cassandra Nova. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth here, but see with her. So I don't come in with the comic book baggage that you do and the expectations. So obviously you've lived a lot of these characters your whole life in your brain and on the paper. Like, so for me, I had no idea who Cassandra Nova was. As a villain, I really liked her in this movie, like a lot. And because she just seemed so formidable, like how the hell do you kill her? Like, because she's just 10 steps ahead of, when she's waving her fingers around and doing stuff.
Well, she's like a god, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking thinking like, how the hell are they going to win? Like, what are they going to do? And even right at the end when she's going and she wants to go to that box that controls the universe or whatever. Sorry, I've forgotten what it does, but
the MacGuffin,
the MacGuffin thing. Like, I felt like the tension of that scene was pretty good, and I wanted her to win. Like, I thought I was going through that whole scene thinking she's gonna win, but the reason I wanted her to win, almost, maybe it was a bit of wishful thinking, was I felt like it was the perfect opportunity to have a soft reboot of the MCU. Or maybe not, like, they didn't have to do too much, but some of the stuff that didn't go right over the last two phases, it gave an opportunity to get rid of the Kang storyline, or and it would have been great to if Wolverine and Deadpool didn't win that last bit, and then we had to wait for the next chapter to like how Infinity War ended, how there was a bit of a reset, like what's going to happen next kind of thing. But the thing with all these Marvel movies and Star Wars movies, and I'm sure DC's just as guilty, but it's just the status quo gets reset back to normal at the end of each one of these things, and it's just there's no stakes, nothing gets shaken up in a meaningful way, I find. So
I love that idea of, like, if it had ended with, like, universe go bang, that could have been like their shoe into Battle World or whatever, but they that could have been literally that's it, end Battle World. But they've just done this storyline prematurely, so they don't have that opportunity to just jump to Battle World and see it. They're kind of and I think and going back to your sort of love of the character, I can't really remember much from the comics apart from she was a lot older, and I think she tried to kill Xavier in the womb because they were twins and stuff. Bizarre. But anyway, like, I just felt, like, when characters' powers aren't really explained, it's just like, I'm going to rip your flesh off, but I'm also telepathic, and I'm also this, and I'm also that, and it's just like, when they're just too powerful.
I think that's what I probably liked about her in it, because it was just a mystery as to how are they going to save the day, because she's indestructible, it seems. And I thought she was quite likable. Like, I was engaged whenever I saw her on screen.
Well, you understood her motivations as well. So somewhat. But the MacGuffin device. Have you seen Loki at all?
I watched season 1 and I didn't bother with season 2.
Yeah, same here. But in season 1,
feel free to spoil it. You can spoil it for me. I don't care.
Oh no, I've never watched season 2, so I don't know.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, gotcha.
I'm not even going to read it on Wikipedia. That's how little I care. But in season 1, they when they prune a timeline, all they do is they have, like, this gun that shoots something into the earth and it destroys it, and it's literally like a mortar, from wars. Right. Or like in Tremors, when they were shooting the thing into the ground to sort of But that's all it was. Just a thing they shoot into the ground, literally handheld. In this film, because it's cinema, it's now a room-sized thing that's powered by a thing in a train station. It's a thing in a thing in a thing. It'd be far more boring if Cassandra Nova just turned up with a thing and shot it into the ground, wouldn't it? And I think that's the, I know, the audience probably won't remember that. That's how they prune timelines in the other one. It's just like, it just felt a bit contrived for me. Again, we're sort of overanalyzing the comic book film, which probably seems daft.
Nah, it's not daft. It's fun.
That's why we're here. But it just felt a bit contrived, and I think they could put more into the stakes, because again, his whole universe with his loved ones and his whatever is about to die, and it's just him and Thingy making some jokes. You could sort of tell when what's his face, Wolverine was about to go off and die, or no, whoever was going to go off and die, they cared about each other, so that was nice. But what about everyone else that's out? It was a problem.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
I don't know what I was going to say. So.
Yeah, with Deadpool, so another thing is, if they did lose and Cassandra won, Deadpool would have lost all his friends, and then going into the next movies, Deadpool would have had some really severe trauma that he would have had to grapple with.
Yeah, and you could have seen a slightly different version of him that isn't as quippy, or his quippy is a bit more dark. He would have had more of an edge to him than just like.
Or he uses that comedy to disguise or hide a real tragedy, a real serious pain that he just refuses to deal with, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit too dark for a Disney Marvel movie. But then again, this is the first Disney Marvel R-rated. 18 or whatever. R-rated movie.
What did they do with that? They had the cigarette or the cigar, and they had the hyper-violence and a lot of swearing and talking about drugs and talking about boobs and whatever. I don't know. It's kind of like, is that what we need, really?
I like an F-bomb as much as the next person, but I just felt like it was like it just loses its meaning after the 100th time of hearing it. Like there's only, I think, when Joe Pesci does it 100 times, he can make it seem fresh each and every time. But when here, if I heard someone say LFG one more time, I would have asked Wolverine to impale me on his claws myself or something. movies.
Well, that's a different kind of fan fiction. But yeah, it's but no, I totally get it, and I think it's kind of that bit with when he's like, "Oh, you didn't hear what he said about you," when the whole Human Torch thing, and like the juggernaut, whatever thing, and it's just like, how juvenile is that really? That about the Human Torch bit. I mean, that was quite a cool reveal, but it's a bit predictable what was going to happen. But yeah,
I didn't see that coming at all. You know when Deadpool gets Johnny Storm killed, I went from that point onwards. I went on thinking Deadpool is not actually a good guy here. Like, I know he's always been a bit ambiguous, but I felt like that was uncalled for entirely. But then at the end, when he revealed that Johnny Storm did say all that stuff, I actually felt pretty good about that. So.
I mean, that did help me come to terms with it. But I'm thinking, is that just because after a screening they realised that people started hating him because he got him killed, and they just did a new shoot or whatever?
I heard something about that. I heard something about Chris Evans was he said something that he never gets to say this kind of dialogue, so he wanted it, and apparently he memorized all of that and did it in one take.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough then. Yeah. But no, I sort of, because he was all dressed like Nomad from Civil War or whatever, wasn't it? Or no, from whenever, and it was just like, oh, okay, yeah. But as soon as he comes down, he's like, come on, he's going to say it, and then I'm just sitting there thinking, we've not seen any other trace of the MCU. He was in Thingamabob. He's going to be Thingamabob, and he's like, flame on, and he's like, okay, yeah, got it.
I didn't see that coming, but it did put a stupid smile on my face, to be honest.
It was very good. I was hoping for him to be around a bit longer though, but then when he made the joke about, you know what this is going to do to the budget, I was just saying, however, I think the fourth wall breaking was just on point still. Like you can't argue with that.
And when Blade talks about him being the only Blade in the MCU or whatever, and Deadpool looks at the camera,
and he's just like, Punisher left the rocket launcher behind or whatever. He's like, which one? There's been about 5, and she's like, I don't know.
There's been loads of them,
including Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
I don't know. Like when X-23 come back, I'm like, and don't care.
They showed her in the trailer, and I just felt like that was such a stupid move. Like, why the hell would you do that? Just save it as a surprise.
Literally everything got spoiled. It's like, rumors that Electro are coming back, rumors that X-23 are coming back. Here's a picture of X-23 on set. Here's a picture of Hugh Jackman in costume on set. And it's like, come on, guys, just keep some things back and let us enjoy it in the thing. I mean, they did have a few things, but it wasn't great. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you think comes next now that we've kind of gone through this? Like, where do you see things going?
So the one thing I've been wrestling a lot with in my mind, and I have no idea how they're going to do this, but so Deadpool, they're going to bring him back. They're going to bring Wolverine, this variant of Wolverine back. It's going to happen. They've made too much money not to bring him back. But the thing is, the MCU is very clean cut, very family friendly. Whereas these characters, swear, violence, all that stuff. I'm just concerned. I have no idea how they're going to consolidate this. And the only thing I can think of is there's some kind of Deadpool makes reference to a Kevin Feige glitch that every time he swears, it makes him say something kiddie friendly, like, oh, shoot, or oh, fanny pack, or something like that. And then I think they're going to do something really stupid like that. And maybe every time Wolverine cuts someone open, I don't know, flowers come out or something stupid. Like, I think there's going to be some Kevin Feige glitch reference or something.
Yeah, Kevin the robot or whatever from She-Hulk. But because we had 24 years of Hugh Jackman not getting his claws bloody. No. So I suppose we're going to have to go back to that status quo again, which is really disappointing. And because they did a re-edited version of Deadpool 2, I think, called Deadpool All the Way or Deadpool Before Christmas or something.
Once upon a time Deadpool or something like that.
And that was meant to be a 12, so I don't know how they did that. But yeah, if you've just got all the main characters running around being all like, gee whiz, and suddenly he's like F-bombing everywhere or making whatever, lewd jokes or,
What I would like is if the MCU, I would be totally okay if these characters didn't appear in the mainline MCU. I would like it if they had a separate branch of the MCU, which is just adult. And so you could have the Punisher, Daredevil, like all those Netflix guys back, or just have it separate, have it, just adult, because it's made like $1 billion or something, this movie has.
Because in the comics, there was like Marvel Knights, which was like a sort of whole strand. So
Marvel Max as well, I think. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So this sort of more mature audience type thing. Yeah. Why not just have a strand of movies like that? Which, you could have Captain America go over and be in one of those things, and F-bomb and blah 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 blah, and go back to be kiddie friendly in the other one. But give those actors, like Chris Evans said, he didn't get an opportunity to be rude or whatever. Give those actors an opportunity to kind of use different muscles and go back to being all happy clappy thing, rather than trying to force the uniqueness of this character into.
Absolutely, definitely,
cookie
100%.
cutter
Yeah.
mold. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
because DC does it with their Black Label of comics, and
yeah.
where I mean, one of them shows like Bruce Wayne's knob
I know
in one of
it's
them.
why,
Like,
but it's just like, why again? Why do we need to see that? Why is that essential? I mean, I think
it's not essential. Nothing's essential, man.
exactly, yeah. And it's just, it's just, I don't know, like there was no need for that. There's no need for that.
No,
Like,
no.
just because it's an edgy comic. But anyway, in terms of going forward, it sounds like we're heading towards Battle World and all that stuff, and it's literally going to be End Game, but in a
What is
of,
Battle World? Sorry, I don't know what Battle World is.
Oh, I thought you meant comics. It was the Secret Wars arc. So basically, it's something to do with the incursions, and literally every planet Earth was being destroyed, or every universe was being destroyed. And once the last one got destroyed, disparate characters got saved and brought to something called Battle World, where they all interacted with each other. So you'd have like Old Man Logan versus regular Logan versus Spider-Man, whose kid didn't die, and he's still married to Mary Jane.
So is this basically the multiverse consolidating itself or reconsolidating or something?
But it was kind of like not in a nice way. It's kind of in a sort of 1 minute you're in no man's land from Old Man Logan, the next minute you walk over the road and you're in I don't know, Marvel 1666, and the next minute you're in Thingy, but they're all part of the same planet. So you could basically walk from one universe to another universe to another universe. Then after that they did a sort of retcon where they kind of then brought back what they wanted to the reset universe and sort of saved the element. But yeah, in that Doom was a big player, which stuff like that. But I think that's kind of just unnecessary for one, bringing Downey back as Doom. And yeah, I think it's going to be cheap in it because he's a character that should have been lasted like a whole phase or something, or for 2 phases. He could have been, and he's a bit of an anti-hero sometimes as well. Like you could see him sort of flip-flopping, like Loki's journey. You could have done something like that with Doom. But yeah, just we've got Downey to do it. Why not have Fassbender or someone like someone decent? I mean, Downey is decent, but he was on it. It's kind of it just seems a bit like novelty casting.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Robert Downey Jr. reveal. I mean, I'm sure they'll have a reason for it and they'll explain it away and whatnot. But I just felt like leave him. He's done his bit as Iron Man. He's paid his dues. Leave him. Like, is he running out of money or something? And I mean, Cillian Murphy would have been a great Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
There's this meme I've seen where someone says, "Get that guy from Oppenheimer to play Doctor Doom," and they get the wrong person. They bring Downey back instead of Cillian Murphy. So.
Oh, that's genius. But there's so many good, talented actors at the right age and the right current gravitas that could do a really good job. And just like you say, maybe have something a bit more grounded than multi-universal interplanetary battles. Just have political machinations, or I don't know, like even go to a mystical side because he's like a sorcerer or whatever. Lean into that. There's so much they could have done, and it's just going to be like, oh, it's a variant. Oh, he went a bit bad. Oh, he now calls himself Thingamabob. But one of the rumors is that there's going to be someone behind him, like the whole Mandarin reveal in Iron Man 3, which is
goodness,
exactly, which is manipulating Tony to do it. And well, that's still a bit cheap, I don't think that will work very well.
Yeah, personally, I think they should have just continued with the Kang thing and just recast it and just finish that. No matter how good or bad that arc was, just complete it properly, have an ending to it, rather than just this kind of hard cut. Well, actually, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but it just feels like they're just scrapping what's come before. But I heard they have recast Kang.
Oh, really?
So I don't. Yeah, I that's what I've heard. I could be totally wrong.
But the challenge there is as well. He's meant to be the all-powerful, all big, bad, whatever. He's been killed twice already.
Yeah, he gets killed in Ant-Man as well, doesn't he? So
exactly, he's been killed by Ant-Man. I mean, of all the characters to kill, Ant-Man is not the one that you choose. So if he gets killed by Ant-Man, that you don't need all the Avengers. You could just send bloody Tom Holland over there and do him. It's I don't know. I mean, this film, a lot of people were saying it's going to be like the save the MCU and all the stuff in the thing about him being Marvel Jesus and stuff. And then you look at it and you're like, it's not going to save it. It's going to put it on reprieve or put it on life support or whatever. But I don't see
life support. I agree. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
I think it's not going to get any better. Really, it's just going to be trading on trading in the good name of the past, like bringing Downey back. And I don't see anything that's really drawing me back in. I mean, stuff like, to be fair, Captain America 4 doesn't look too bad from the trailers. I mean, I could be horribly wrong.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. It looks quite down to earth, grounded. I mean, other than the Red Hulk bit, which I'm sure will be good. I mean, it's got Harrison Ford in it, and he, no matter what movie he's in, he's generally always good. He always gives it a good performance. I mean, look, despite everything we've said and not said and how we've responded, I still had a good time with Deadpool 3. It was a good laugh. I went with the wife to watch it, and she knows nothing about comics, and even she had a good time with it.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Is it a great movie? No, it's just it's just like a Big Mac.
Yeah.
I found, but
yeah, I think the way I'd say it is it's fun nonsense. In terms of the multiverse handling, are probably not as good as No Way Home in my opinion, but much better than Multiverse of Madness. Because No Way Home, I was really excited to see Andrew Garfield back, my favourite Spidey, and the villains
he's your
were
boy.
good. Yeah, and there was a nice arc and stuff. It's a shame it starred Tom Holland, but there's not much I could do about it. But Multiverse of Madness was just complete shit. Shizzle. It's awful. So this was kind of an in between. The cameos had a lot more reason to be there. It had a lot more coherence. It had a lot more charisma between the actors. Blah blah blah. But yeah, I would probably watch it again just to see if I've missed out on any little touches.
If there's an extended version of it, I'd be eager to see that.
Yeah.
But this whole Marvel thing at the moment, the current state of it, it's just making me more and more excited to see what James Gunn's going to do with DC.
Dangerous word. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it can't be any worse than Snyderverse, can it? I mean, I don't know. Were you a fan of the Snyder stuff, or is that like?
The thing is, I watched all the Snyder stuff, but I don't know, man. I never thought any of it was fantastic. I thought it was all a bit crap, but
yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching them, but fully aware that they were dreadful.
Yeah.
But I must admit, man, I couldn't remember if we'd spoken about it. I watched Blue Beetle and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I really like. It's just there's something separate in its own thing, and apparently that's meant to be a part of they're carrying him over, which I'm kind of pleased with, to be honest.
No, I'll have to watch that. It was on the flight. I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we get the whole status quo thing. It's like after they ruined Doomsday in Dawn of Justice or whatever.
Oh
Then they killed Superman in his second appearance, and then they brought him straight back again. And it's just like
it was all too rushed. It was all rushed. But to be honest, the foundations were mega rocky. Like, I mean, this could be another episode on its own, to be honest. But like, Zack is great with visuals, but crap with drama and story.
He needs a plotter. He needs some. And like when 300, I think because the graphic novel was so good, and you couldn't really go wrong with that. It's literally one story, and like his artistic vision works. But as soon as you'd have something where it's like, well, I'm going to take a bit of that, and a bit of that, and a bit of that because that looks good, and then create this hodgepodge of a story. But yeah, gun stuff. From what I've seen of like the costumes and the Superman costume reveal was a bit daft, but the on-set pictures and stuff. You've got Mr. Terrific, and I think Hawk people are there yet. But Superman, he's not as muscly as the others.
He's meant to be a younger kid version of Superman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say something which I probably said to you before on WhatsApp, but like I would love, and this would be really trippy, and I probably won't do it. But in the comic, there's a bit between I think it's New 52 and one of the other ones, basically where they reset the universe, but the old Superman sticks around, so he basically just lives a quiet life in Kansas and just chills out. And then when the young Superman gets in trouble, he turns up, and literally he's like been like a mentor figure to him. And then when they reset it again, the old Superman stays and the young one goes. I think it was between New 52 and Rebirth or something. And I'm like, if they could do that, and basically everyone's like, oh, you got rid of Cavill, and then suddenly
bring Cavill back.
Bring Cavill back, and it'll just be genius because you could just have Cavill in his Lois Lane, just chilling. Actually being like Jackman was the thing before, like actually being able to play the character properly, but as a mentor to the new one, and that would have been that would be great. But I think, like you said, that non-comic fans watching stuff, that would be so hard to explain. Oh well, there was a universe.
The regular people, I'll be totally honest with you. Like Cavill to me looks the part of Superman, and he looks the part of Wolverine and whatnot. The thing is, Cavill looks great in no matter what he's in. But I'm sure people are going to hate me for this, but I don't think he's a good actor. I really don't think he's great.
Very one note. Doesn't have much depth.
Very. The only thing I've seen him in where I thought he was fantastic was the Mission Impossible movie he was in when he played the bad guy.
I think I watched a clip of it where he was fighting someone in a bathroom and probably Cruise and smashing him about. Was that him?
Yeah. Fist. He does this fist guns or arm guns thing, which he did in Wolverine. As Wolverine, he did the arm guns thing when he got the claws out of it. But that Mission Impossible, he was great. But I think it was only because he was surrounded by so many fantastic actors in that movie where he had to raise his game, and he was just muscle. Like he was quiet a lot of the film, to be honest.
Because I watched Argyle on the plane rather than Blue Beetle, and it was all like.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that. Is that not good? No,
he's not in it very much, but when he is, he's just so wooden. And I suppose because he's meant to be her fictional character, it's just wooden and like just stayed. I mean, I tried watching The Witcher, and again, I suppose he was just wooden and stayed.
I couldn't do The Witcher. I gave up on that.
I think we got through one episode, but like I think if you go to interviews with him, he actually has a bit of charisma and a bit of something about him.
He's funny in interviews. He has a personality.
He needs to, I don't know, have a director that knows how to get the best out of him or something, or goes to some acting classes.
He needs to be in in a Tarantino movie.
That would be good, yeah. Or Guy Ritchie or something.
Oh, he's done Guy Ritchie, and he was in that Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. But
have you watched that?
even in that, no, I heard he's meant to be in there for like 10 minutes or something.
Oh, you've ruined it. I was looking forward to. I thought he was the boss man in it, but we'll find out.
No, that was the main thing in the reviews where they were saying the marketing's totally misleading because he's on the poster of everything, but he's
like
only
the
in there for
Acolyte then with Carrie-Anne Moss. Yeah.
Oh, didn't even bother with that. I stopped watching Star Wars a while ago. Oh yeah, we back to Deadpool.
Right.
What are your closing thoughts of this for this movie?
Oh, well, fun nonsense. I think it just felt like a giant, really expensive fan film. Would I watch it again? Maybe if there's an extended cut or I feel like I've missed something. Do I think it reset anything? No. Am I excited to see what they do with them next? Yes. I think this variant of Wolverine was probably the best one that's been shown on screen. I think if they can temper Ryan's then it could be all right. I think we just need a bit more seriousness with them. And the fourth wall breaking was very good. And I think they handled the whole Disney Fox breakup buying, blah, 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 quite well, and world events and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good fun nonsense. Can't complain. Better than most of the tripe that's been coming out of Disney and Hollywood lately. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up beautifully. I agree with most of your points, to be totally honest. Other than Ryan Reynolds being a little bit insufferable, but it might just be an age thing. I think I just don't have the patience for that anymore as much as I used to. The quips were on overload. I really enjoyed watching Wolverine in this movie. I really liked the villain character, Cassandra Nova. All the cameo appearances were a really nice surprise. It was nice to see characters like Elektra, Blade, and get a second chance and kind of and with the appearance of Blade in this movie, he is now officially the longest serving actor to play a superhero character.
That's it. Yeah,
26 years or whatever.
He beat Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was like, "Yeah, I got it," and he's like, "No, sorry, mate." But then when Hugh comes back for Battleworld, I suppose they'll whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in terms of cameos, sorry, like a little touch. They've got Tyler Loughlin or whoever he was come back as Sabretooth. They killed him in a few minutes and did a Furiosa gag.
Yes,
and I think they got Ray Park back as Toad.
Was that him?
Someone said it was in a review. I need to Google it, but it didn't look like him.
No, I don't think it looked like him either. No.
Yeah. Oh well.
Might have been him. Don't know.
Well, to be fair, it's a bit of a waste either way. And I think he said some un-PC things that Disney probably wouldn't want him on their books. But yeah, moving on. But no, yes. Sorry, I've ruined the summary. You can edit that bit.
No, keep it in.
But no, this has been fun. And I hope the listeners enjoyed our, we could call it deconstruction of this pop culture content.
We spend 59 minutes talking about what we hated about the movie, and then last 1 minute, it was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I did have a caveat at the beginning. I'm like, I actually did like it. I know. This is a buyer beware. But no,
it was definitely one of the more fun Marvel movies of the last couple of phases, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's probably the highlight of this last two phases. And yeah, it would be nice to see where they take this storyline and these characters next and see them sort of interact with the others in a way that's appropriate for both sides.